Okay, so now that we're back, we've done some white shirts. Let's go ahead and do a black shirt. So in this case, because we ran through our queue, what it does at the end of the queue is it stops it and it doesn't allow it to print any longer. So if I start this job and send the platen in, it's not going to release the queue. So all I really have to do is hit release right here. Now at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and delete all titles so I can get rid of all the jobs in here. We're going to start fresh. So we're going to go and do a black shirt. So we have this design here that actually has a black background. Now earlier I showed with a transparent background, but here is one with a black background. So we're going to go ahead and move this up and just hit center horizontal. And under our predefined settings, we can do a high quality mode, high quality production, or production mode. In this case, just because of all the detail that's in here, we're going to do a high quality mode. It takes a little bit longer to print, but we do get a really good design. And if I hit preview, we can see that no white was generated. Now I also make mention that whenever I don't have the artwork selected, I can't really do anything. I can't generate white layers and so forth. The reason why is we can actually bring in more than one layer. So if I wanted to bring in this image here, I could generate a white layer. And if I bring in a logo separately and added a logo to this, I could actually generate a white layer for that logo by itself. So we basically want to make sure that whatever we're generating the white layer for, that it's selected. So in this case, because our background has black in it, I can't use transparency to detect background. So if I hit create here, my white layer doesn't show anything. If I said 100% white under any color pixel, basically what it's going to do is generate white under anywhere there's color. Now again, my black detect threshold, I'm pulling that out because I'm using a 99% here. We're going to actually take this down to about 97, 96, and then we'll pull some more of this out when we actually generate the black layer. So what I do here instead, because it has a black background, I'm simply going to say use background color black and hit create. Now with this setting, you can see it actually has this remove black ink grayed out. That means it's going to remove it anyway, and it doesn't give you the option to allow that to happen. So here's my white layer, my color layer, and my preview layer, and I'm just going to simply hit print. So while that processes, I'm going to go ahead and take a shirt, and this shirt has been pre-treated, but I'm going to heat press it just to get any moisture out of the shirt because this has been setting around, and to get any wrinkles out. And I don't need to heat press it for long, just maybe 5-10 seconds. All right, we're going to go ahead and place this on the platen. And again, we're always looking at the collar on the edge, and then we're going to center this left to right and just feel for where it is. Kind of lightly tuck it on the front, and then on the back, then the front, and just kind of lightly go in like that. So again, it depends on where your pre-treat is. So if your pre-treat starts a little bit lower, then you're not going to be able to use the collar as a guide. So if that was the case, then of course what we'd have to do is, and you can kind of see where the pre-treat is. So if I needed to go a little bit lower, because maybe the pre-treat started a little bit lower than normal, then again, the same way, I'm just kind of, but if you're using the edge pre-treat system in conjunction with the mod, it's good to always have the collar lined up a certain way. So again, we're just going to head put this in here like so, tuck it in, and then we're just going to simply send in the job. As soon as it's in the print position, the job would go ahead and release. Okay, now in the middle of a print, earlier we talked about the red ink light blinking during an ink charge or anything like that. Well, in the middle of a print, it could also do the same thing. Typically, you're going to see it on the white layer only because there's so much white ink that gets laid down. So again, we can see in the center, the right light is blinking, which tells me at least one ink chip is low. So when I look over here, I can see 2 additional lights blinking. So it's just basically saying the first 2 white channels are a little low on the chip, and it's just going to reset. Now the way we've done this is with the system, we want to try to automate the chip resetting when you're not in the middle of handling the job, or rather when you are in the middle but not interfering with your workflow. So because this is an auto rapid second pass, the job's going to go right in and finish its color print. If it was in a single pass mode, it would print the white layer and home. Once that platen homes, the print is going to the ink chip is going to reset. So, but because we have it in an auto rapid second pass, what's going to happen is the job continues to go right in, it finishes its color pass, and then when it homes, it's going to do a chip reset. But when it's homed, now is the time for you to take the shirt off, place it on the heat press, grab another shirt, put it on the platen. So by the time you're finished with that, chances are you don't have to wait on the printer at all to complete its chip reset. Now, if it ran out of ink in the middle of a print, or what it believed to be out of ink, it's just going to simply reset the chip, and usually within a 10-15 second period, and then it's going to continue printing where it left off. Now, if at any reason it does not do its cycle, let's just say it goes from a blinking red to a solid red, but it does not reset the chip, then chances are there could be maybe an ink chip that has went bad, or it's just not functioning right, and we could replace the chip for you. But for the most part, you shouldn't see that. It'll just simply reset the chip as needed. Okay, now let's cure this shirt. It's a little bit different than curing a white garment or a light garment with no white ink. Now, because I have Teflon, if I bring this down immediately, what's going to happen is it's going to gloss over your image because it's a water-based ink, and with the water-based ink, it's just simply going to create a nice shine. But this is a hover press, so when I bring this down for the first time, it would actually hover the job. It's not actually touching. When the hovering process, what we're doing with this is we're allowing it to just to dry to touch. So when we actually go to press, we don't have a very, it's not going to meld all the colors together. Now, if I want to, I can also bring the first press down, again with medium pressure with the Teflon. Now, I said we don't want to touch it because it's going to make it glossy with white ink. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hold the integrity of the color a little bit better. So the first hover could be 20-30 seconds. Some people like to go 60 seconds. I find if you just hover just for a brief moment, 20-30 seconds is fine. What happens is it dry to touch. So when you bring the heat press down, you're actually not melting and flattening the colors. But what I'm doing now is I want to press this for 2 minutes. The first minute, though, I'm actually using the Teflon. And the reason for that is when I do that, it's basically going to allow your colors to be vibrant. So as soon as this is done, it's also going to be glossy. So I'm going to go ahead and put paper back on this, and we're going to dull it down a little bit. So for the second minute, we'll go ahead and put parchment. Okay, so now that that's done, we'll go ahead and remove the paper. Now another note about the paper is if there are wrinkles in this paper at all, those wrinkles will transfer to the shirt and it'll be very difficult to wash out. So what we want to do is we basically want to make sure that there's whenever you start to get wrinkles, we want to replace this. So when we do this, basically what we've done is we've created a nice vibrant graphic without the glossiness. And that's basically taking the first press being with Teflon, second press being without.